Hi guys. Today we're gonna be reviewing the volume practice set I've given you guys on the PDF. So we're gonna get right into it. All right. These are just gonna be me working through it and how I push these problems. Questions. I don't know. Comment them. I'll probably reply to it. I don't got nothing better to do. Or just come ask me in person. I mean, I work Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. Uh, Subject to change, I guess. But you know, whatever. Today, while these videos some of these videos are uploaded on the same day, so you guys should have had a test on volume or at least included volume. So we're gonna go over these. So we're doing number one. All right. Um, this one is a cube. So if you refer back to the formula for volume of a cube is a cubed, and a is just the side of cube. Okay. Sorry. Let me write that nicer. The side length. That's why if you look, it only gives us one value. It tells us that length is equal to 5 meters, okay? You don't need to know anything else because if this is 5 meters, then this is 5 meters, and this is 5 meters. All right? And I guess I should just preface this. Please excuse my handwriting. When I make the review journals, I try very hard to make sure it's nice. So we're going to be going through these quickly, so might not be as nice. So if you put it together already, a in this case is equal to 5, right? That's the length. So our answer is just going to be 5 cubed. Now, 5 times 5 is 25. And this times 5 times 5 is 25 again. Carry the 2, 10, 12, 125. That seems about right. I don't have a calculator on hand, so let's just hope that's right. So 125, okay? So you could put 125 and you'll probably be wrong unless you're doing it on like that quizzes thing. I don't think it asks for the units. So if you're doing this on paper or later on in the future, you need to specify that this was meters. Okay, that was our units. And volume is always cubed. So boom. That's all that is. All right, that's number one out the way. It's probably the easiest one. Move on to number two. I'm gonna erase these as actually no, I'm lying. So we're gonna do the triangular prism. Now, to my knowledge, that should be height times base over 2 times the length. Let me just double check that. Yeah. J Boston is playing Marvel Rivals. Isn't that great to know? Um, so sorry, hold on. Why is this doing this? Okay, cool. So if you look at number 2, we have 3 different values. Now, this might be mind blowing, but all you have to do is take these given ones and plug them into this formula. So height is over here. That is 4.2. I don't know why I wrote a decimal, but cool. Times the base. Now, you notice this formula says base. Over here, you might be like, oh, well, there's no base. Oh, I just messed up the triangle. That base is the same thing as width. Okay. Um, it's honestly not wrong to say that it's the width, but it's a triangle, so we're gonna go with base. So that just plugs in to be 4. Now, all of that is over 2. Now, if you're plugging this in a calculator, you need to multiply the top first, follow PEMDAS, and then divide it by 2. You're gonna multiply by the length. In that case, this is 8. All right. Now, I believe 4.2 times 4 is 16.8, right? Because yeah, that's just mental math, and then you divide this by 2. Okay. Now, if you did 16.8 times 8 and then divided by 2, you would be wrong. So this should be 8.4, right? You're just dividing by 2 is cutting it in half, and that should be times 8. Now, 8.4 times 8 should be, is that gonna be 67.2. Let me check that. Times 8. It's 2, 3, 64. Yeah, okay, cool. 67.2. And if you notice, our units over here are specifically in centimeters. So let's note that this is, right, super ugly. 67.2 centimeters cubed. Circle our answer. If you're wondering why I do that, it's just a habit to have. Believe it or not, when you get to college, you take paper exams, and if you don't circle your answer, you lose points. Next is number 3 over here, so let's do that. Hopefully you guys have this work written down. If not, you can just rewind the video. So I'm gonna clear this, and then I'm just gonna erase these here. And we're gonna move this up. Cool. So let's do this one. So number 3. All right. Obviously, if you're following along, please try these first. If you're just watching me do it, realistically, you might learn something, but you're not gonna learn much at all. All right. The the best way to learn things is to attempt them first, and if you don't get it, you don't get it, and then look at my video, see what you did wrong, and keep attempting them. Okay. Math isn't memorization. Well, I mean, in some aspects it is. But, you can't get away with just memorizing answers because numbers change. Questions are always going to be different. Please just keep that in mind. So let's go to number 3 real quick. That is a cylinder, right? So the formula for the volume of a cylinder should be pi times r squared times height. Okay. Now, check that real quick on second monitor. And yes, that is correct. Now, I don't have a calculator, so I'm going to assume 3.14 times. If you look over here at our problem, our diameter is 12 feet. Now, D is not R, but I know that D divided by 2 is R. Diameter in half is equal to radius. My radius is 6, right? That's 6 squared times the height. Now, if you also look, this is length. But if we were to make this stand up, it would be height. So you can just plug it in. 5.5. I would recommend you guys should be able to multiply this out on paper. You need a calculator. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it's just a good skill to have. Now, you gotta follow PEMDAS. So before we do anything, this is 3.14 times 6 squared, which is 36, right? 6 squared is just 6 times 6, so 36. Times 5.5. Now, because I'm noticing that we're already at 8 minutes or 9 minutes for 3 problems, I'm just gonna go look for a calculator, so give me 1 second. Found one. Okay, when you multiply this all out, this is equal to 621.72. Once again, this is in feet, and it's cubed. And if you're still struggling to understand why, because this is 3.14 feet, 36 feet, and 5.5 feet. So you're multiplying these 3 times, and that's feet cubed. Explaining that right there. So once again, here is our. Now, on to number 4. This is another cylinder. Uh, um, Same formula. Okay, this one actually gives us R though, so we don't need to do the division by 2. We can just do 3.14 times 3.5 squared. That should be 9.25. Then times height, 7.5. Once again, gotta do the exponent first, even though there's parentheses. The way it works. Oh, I'm mistaken. It's 12.5, 12.25. But it's good to always check your work rather than just assume. Okay, so 12.25 times 7.5 is 288.4875. I would round this to the nearest hundredth, sometimes even to the nearest whole number. Remember, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and I don't remember what comes next. So, if we're going to round up to the nearest hundredths, this is our hundredths. Look at the number after it, greater than 5. So this rounds up, and our answer is 288.49. Okay, there's that one. Next, we have spheres. Okay. Look at these. Okay, this sphere just tells us radius. This sphere tells us diameter. Now, you guys should be seeing the pattern of what you need to do, right? So, let's look at this one. If r is equal to 3, the volume of a sphere should be 4 times pi times r squared. Obviously, this is done first, and this is all over 3. 4 times 3.14 times 3 squared. That's just 9. Okay, so let's rewrite that actually. And all of this is over 3. 4, 3. This is 37.68. I just played into calculator, right? But this is what this equals. We're going to be rounding to the nearest whole number from now on. So this is 38, okay? This is the next decimal. It rounds this up to 38. So that's that. Oh, would you look at that? Slice is playing Apex Legends. If you guys can't tell, I play a lot of video games. If you have any questions about them, I mean, feel free to ask. We're not just there to tutor. So that was that answer. Let's look at this one, right? So this one tells us that diameter is equal to 7. You should know the formula does not have diameter; it has radius. Divide that by 2. That gives you 3.5 squared, or 3.5. Plug it into the formula of 4 times 3.14 times 3.5 squared. Okay, and all of this is divided by 3. Okay, so I believe this should become 12.25. We just did a problem like that. And 4, 5 gives you 153.86. Okay, you divide that by 3. Obviously, you would set up the little house and all that if you didn't know. You didn't have a calculator. This gives you 51.2. We're running to the nearest whole number. That is 51. Okay. So that is our answer for that one. Hopefully that's what you got. Oh, sorry guys. I noticed that I've been making a mistake. You might have caught it. Yards cubed. You notice our unit here is yards. Okay. Should always be cubed. So that is my bad. Didn't specify that on the previous one. So it doesn't matter what shape you have. It's always cubed when you're finding volume. Now let's jump into these. Okay, let's do 7. Now, this one tells us h is equal to 16, r is equal to 6. Now, volume of a cone is pi times r squared times h. I remember that one. Pretty confident on that. This just becomes 3.14 times r squared Now, you guys should just know 6 squared becomes 36. Okay, I'm just going to write that here. I already wrote it. It's not 36 squared. It was 6 squared, that gives us 36. Times the height, that's 16. This is going to be a massive number. And we're going to divide this all over 3. Okay. This is 36. Yeah. 0.64 all over 3. 602.8. Now we're rounding up. Our answer is 603. Cool. And once again, can't forget it. Our units for this were what? Inches. Inches cubed. Okay, so that's done. Take a look at it. Now, obviously, try this next one. Pause the video if you haven't tried them already. Now, for this one, this is something I notice a lot with students in their notebooks or when they do problems. And it would be hypocritical of me to say that, of me to not acknowledge the fact that I've been writing pretty messy. But when you actually do approach these problems, especially when you take things like the CASP, I don't know what benchmarks you guys take now, but in junior year, you'll take the SAT. It is really important to keep your work nice and organized. So what I mean by that is I'll do my very best attempt here. Okay, so I know that this formula is I r squared times h. Okay, I know that's all over 3. Okay, but I'll take this and I'll do 100 divided by 2 to give me 6. And I'll note that that is my radius. And now that I know that, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna note that I'm moving this right here. The 3.14 times 6 squared times the height. And the height in our case is 7.4. Well, if you notice, it's actually in length, but it's the same exact thing. You guys just gotta keep that in mind. And this is all over 3. Now, what I mean by keeping it neat is I'm out of space here. For some reason, some of you guys move up the paper. I would not advise for that because your work becomes all over the place. Especially because if you know your answer is wrong at the very end, you want to know where you went wrong. So I'm going to take this one, right? 6 squared is 36. We've seen it plenty of times. I'm going to multiply this all out. And I'm going to bring it down here. Now, ideally, you would write this like next to that. But obviously, I ran out of space. But now I know that I should probably check this again if my answer was wrong at the very end. Divided by 3, I get 278.8. This rounds up 279, and not gonna forget it this time. Miles cubed. This is a massive cone, by the way. All right, and like I said, I don't normally always do my work like this, but I try my hardest because, in theory, if this was wrong, right, if I multiplied wrong, I could see that. If I try this again and I don't get, if I try this again and I don't get 836, I went wrong in between those steps. So I would recommend you guys just try to keep your work neat, please. It's just a good habit to start now. Now we're on to the very last one. We're 19 minutes. I need to learn how to talk and do these things faster, man. I'm sorry, guys. Do the rectangular prism. Easiest one. All right. Units are meters here. A rectangular prism formula is just length times width times height. So let's just plug that right in. Height 2.5, width 9, height 15. Now, if I wasn't so late on time, I would do this visually so you guys can see. But I'm just going to put in a calculator. Gives me 337.5. This is 5 or higher, rounds it up. 338. I noticed our units was meters and we cubed those. And that's that. So hopefully you can check your work with mine. If I made a mistake, please let me know. Like I said, I don't pay for the Zoom Premium, so I have to rush these videos every now and then because I only get like 40 minutes. So we all make mistakes. This 10th problem is an entirely separate video because this problem is very long. All right, so if you're looking for that one, it'll be a different area. But yep, that's it. Hopefully you guys understood what's going on. Like I said, if not, you can find us in the tutoring room. We're not mean people. Please feel free to ask questions. I would love to help you guys out. So have a nice day and best of luck in your class.